Is the update as far as US economy is concerned. Time for some important opinion coming in from Bank of America's Brian Moynihan and JP Morgan's Marco Kulanovic. Listen in.
Our expectations are that inflation gets in control really at the end of next year into 24. It gets at more normal levels. So we start to see the GDP growth rates negative first 3 quarters and turns positive. We also see the Fed funds rate staying higher, really 4.75 to 5 all the way through next year. And then as the impact of all that slows down the economy, slows down inflation, you'd start to see it normalize into 24. And so this is not I think that's one thing that's been clear that people are really focused on now. This is going to take a little longer than people would like. It's not going to be so clear overnight. It's going to take a bit of time for the higher short-term rates to continue to slow down the economy and bring the inflation under control.
We are at this point quite actually nervous that we would see the downside. So we do think that next year will have a sort of 2 parts. In the first part, we think actually market will go lower, will retest the bottom. The question is how low and exactly when. So we think sort of at least the previous low, but most likely lower. And we think it happens earlier in the year, probably in the first quarter or maybe early in the second quarter. But after that, we think that Fed will basically fold. We think that Fed will have to change its tune completely, and then market is going to start basically pricing interest rates going lower quite quickly, and then multiple can re-rate.
All right, that's the global market action. How will these overnight cues impact our own markets? We have our research team joining us bright and early to tell you just that. The trade setup, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and the action from the F&O space as well. Hey guys, a very good morning to all of you. Vivek, let me come across to you first. What is the market setup looking like today?
Well, good morning. After a very strong November, what we actually saw was the start to December was quite weak. Most of the US markets ended lower for the week. And in fact, when you're talking about the entire global commodity rally, even that actually saw significant risk of, especially crude oil prices falling almost 10% last week. Now, this particular week, a lot of focus will be on various meets as far as, Fed banks are concerned. Number one, you have the US CPI data coming in. You also have the FOMC meet outcome on 14 December. Markets will be very keenly anticipating that particular meeting. The ECB as well as BOE, all of them are meeting this particular week. Now, along with that, when you're talking about our own markets, how do we take cues from all of this? India actually underperformed the region last week. Indian Nifty fell over 1% in the week gone by, mainly dragged lower by IT as well as realty indices. But a lot of action even as far as the Indian markets are concerned. You have the November CPI data, you have the October IIP data that is scheduled in today's trading session. Now, also, primary market action is expected to be quite hot. You have the Sula Vineyards IPO opening today. You also have the Landmark IPO opening today. And there is a new listing as well in today's trading session. So Unipart, that particular company will make its debut on the exchanges today. A lot of action, but however, global cues indicating a weak opening. Asia is quite weak and LCX Nifty 2 is indicating a subdued opening for our own markets.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that, Vivek. Let me go across to Surbhi now, who will list out all the stocks to watch out for in today's trading session. Hey, Surbhi.
Hi, thanks for that. I have a few stocks on my radar today. The first one is Poonawalla Fincorp. There's going to be a board meet on 14th of December to evaluate proposal for fundraise for controlling stake in Poonawalla Housing Finance. Next is Affle India. Again, a board meet on December 14th to consider issue of securities via preferential issue. Next is RVNL, which has formed a joint venture with the company Kyrgyz Industry OJSE for construction of railroad and other infrastructure projects in Kyrgyz Republic. ISMT is entered into a business transfer agreement for sale of 40 megawatt captive power plant on a slump sale basis for 66 crores. PSP projects, they have received a letter of intent for civil construction work of high-rise residential towers worth 122 crores. Adani Total is going to set up e-vehicle charging stations in 8 cities. And lastly, Trident, which has come up with a monthly business update where their bath linen has grown 10% on a month-on-month basis, their bed linen has grown 15% on a month-on-month basis, and the yarn has grown 16% on a month-on-month basis.
Okay, all right, Surbhi, thank you so much for that. Finally, Manglam is joining in with all the cues from the F&O space. Hey, Manglam.
Good morning. So, the Nifty over the last couple of days has seen a bit of a downtick, and it's now corrected about 2% from the record high that it hit on December 1 itself. And the SGX Nifty indicates that the start could be further weak. There are a bunch of factors for that. One, global weakness that we're seeing. Secondly, as a result of which the FIs have been selling in the cash market for the last 5 trading sessions. In fact, on Friday as well, we saw a sell of close to around 635 odd, or rather 158 odd crores. Importantly, the FIs sold about almost 5,700 crores in the month of December so far, and not only in the cash market, they've been selling in index futures as well. In Friday's trading session, we did see sell or unwinding of close to around 6,600 contracts long on the long side, and a further addition of 3,200 short contracts. So what does this mean? At peak December 1, the Nifty FII positioning on the index futures side was 75%. On the long side, 25% shorts, and now shorts have increased to 42%, and the FII longs are at 58 odd percent. Not only are they selling in index futures, they also selling index options. On Friday, they sold almost 2.3 lakh index calls, and that compares with only 70,000 puts that they sold. And that's telling you that there is a fair amount of congestion on the way up. 18,600, 18,700, and 18,500. All these three strikes saw an open interest addition of almost 1.6 crore shares for a combined premium anywhere between 40 to 100 odd rupees, and that's telling you that 18,650 to 18,750 would be an important resistance zone. However, 3 data points that suggest that maybe risk rewards favor longs right now. What are those data points? On Friday, the Nifty recovered from the lows and closed just at the 20-day moving average. So that's where we are. At the lower levels, we do have support in the form of Friday's low of 18,410 and the 20-day exponential moving average of 18,465. And the third part is that the Nifty put-call ratio is at 0.75. Usually, from levels close to 0.7 to 0.75, we do see a bit of a bounce out there. The SGX Nifty, like I said, indicates a dip. Question is whether this gets bought into or not.
Yes, we'll wait and watch. Mangalam, Surbhi and Vivek, thank you so much for joining us and telling us what to expect from the trading day ahead. In fact, let's also do one thing. Let's get you an update on commodities. Crude prices settled lower after a volatile session on Friday. Both the WTI and Brent benchmarks fell over 10% for the week, the biggest decline in months. This after soft economic data from Europe, the United States and China led to fears of a recession, causing a drop in demand for crude and petro products as well. We'll now slip into a short break. Up next, India's biggest winemaker, Sula Vineyards IPO will open for subscription today. We'll tell you all that you need to know about the issue after this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Still tuned into Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Let's talk about some primary market action now. India's largest winemaker, Sula Vineyards' 960 crore IPO will open for subscription today. Surbhi is here to tell us all that we need to know about this particular issue. Surbhi?
Hi, thanks for that. So Sula Vineyards IPO opens today and the issue ends on 14th of December. The issue size is 960 odd crores. The price band is 340 to 357 rupees per share and the implied market cap is 3,000 odd crores. Some of the anchor investors here are Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, Goldman Sachs, HDFC Small Cap Fund and Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. Now Sula Vineyards is India's largest wine producer and seller. It produces 56 different labels and operates in 4 different price segments: elite, premium, economy and popular. It has an overall market share of 52%. It has 4 owned and 2 leased production facilities in Maharashtra and Karnataka. It operates in 2 business verticals, the wine business and also the wine tourism business, which contributes 8% of their sales approximately. In FY22, their revenue was 454 crores with a gross margin of 65%, an EBITDA margin of 26% and a PAT of 52 crores. On a valuation basis, if you compare them to United Spirits, Radico Khaitan and United Breweries, it stands at 55 times FY22 PE, lesser than all of the peer companies, but still on quite expensive.
Okay, all right, that is about Sula Vineyards. Let's focus on some key macro data due to be released today. CPI for the month of November is seen coming in at a 9-month low of 6.3% compared to 6.77% in October. A favorable base effect and a moderation in prices is likely to lead to a lower number this time around. Inflation coming in above 6%, however, will be the 11th consecutive month of inflation being above 6%. IIP for the month of October is seen coming in at a negative 0.8% compared to a growth of 3.2% last month as core sector growth slows and the impact of a global growth slowdown and weak rural demand weigh. Note that core sector output, which accounts for 40% of the industrial output, sank to a 20-month low in October. And it's time for a short break. When we return, we get to excerpts from our exclusive conversation with Infosys Non-Executive Chairman Nandan Nilekani. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's now listen into an excerpt from an exclusive chat my colleague Ritu Singh had with Non-Executive Chairman of Infosys, Nandan Nilekani, who spoke on a whole host of topics, including India's next big digital transformation. Listen in.
Well, I think, while the global economic environment does have signs of slowing down, I think technology and the role of technology in businesses has never been higher. I think the pandemic showed us that you have to be digitally well equipped. So I do believe that there's still going to be continued interest in IT, both for transformation as well as increasingly for automation and cost reduction.
Let me go ahead and ask you, you said that UPI is going to be the WhatsApp moment of India. What next now? We have the ONDC, we have the, AA, we have, a lot of other digital initiatives that are coming into play, the CBDC and so on. What do you think is going to be our next big moment?
Well, I think we are at a very interesting point. In the first part of this transformation, we had digital identity with Aadhaar, we had DBT for everybody, we had UPI to transform payments and so on. In the next phase, I think there are going to be three big things. The first is democratized credit. Everybody will get access to credit, and the account aggregator system, which has been launched, it's gathering steam. Recently, GSTN was added to it. So once you make credit accessible to all, then millions of small businesses and millions of consumers will get access. That will be a big push to economic growth in an equitable manner. The second is ONDC will disaggregate commerce and make it much more inclusive, will allow more suppliers on the platform, more retailers on the platform, more consumers on the platform. So anybody can buy from anybody and so on. A third thing I think is the logistic revolution which is happening in India, partly with physical infrastructure, partly with GST reforms, partly with startups. So once you improve the ability to sell, how you sell, whom you sell to, how it's delivered, and give credit to companies to grow, that's the perfect situation that you want to be in.
All right, that's the word coming in from Nandan Nilekani. And with that, it's a wrap in this edition of Power Breakfast with the news that the SGX Nifty is indicating a weak start for our own market. Stay tuned. All the market action, Bazaar Morning Call, that comes up next.